We are in a housing shortage. Somewhere around, 7 million homes that we're short?
That's about right.
Yeah, I mean, some sources talk about a little less or a little bit more, but 7 million is an alarming rate. This is affecting a lot of communities out there, primarily in the affordable housing section. This is going to get worse. We got higher interest rates than ever before. Well, not since the 80s, rather, but pretty dang high interest rates. We also have something happening at the border. So regardless of what your political affiliation is, migrants that are coming across the border also need someplace to live. And here's the problem. They're not going after the luxury listings. They're usually going to go after something like a rental. And they're going to come into communities where it's going to be a low cost of living area, perpetuating the housing shortage, possibly worse, especially those most vulnerable. Well, we're going to get into that and discuss more, so stay tuned. But before we do that, let's go around the table for some introduction. I'm Rob Kyleman.
I'm Joshua Britt.
We're real estate agents and investors in the Hampton Roads area of Virginia. And also we are joined by Julius Hayes.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Kareem Purchase.
That's right.
They are independent contractors and home builders. Guys, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you for the invite.
I really appreciate you having us on today, man.
Oh, my pleasure. Our pleasure.
Yes. All right, so we're going to go ahead and dive into it. So right now, what are the main factors contributing to America's current housing crisis? I'll say crisis because it's at that level.
It's a crisis. Let's not sugarcoat it.
How can new construction help address some of these issues?
You can let you start.
Yeah, well, I think primarily one of the things that we see, especially here locally, is that the cost of land has gone up quite a bit. Yes. Because of this housing shortage. People that have property know that their property is more valuable right now, right? Because guys like us want to buy it and we want to build new houses on it. So the cost of these properties have gone up tremendously. And then the competition, you have larger development companies who are going to come in and, take up this 3 or 4 acre piece of land and build 100 houses. And so the competition has gotten fierce, right? So these are some of the things that contributed to the housing shortage because we kind of get bottlenecked in right. Trying to attain these properties and build houses. But we see some bright spots where although there is this high competitive nature to purchase these properties, it eventually gets purchased and people build houses on them, and we move this whole thing forward, right? But as of right now, I think that one of the things that will help, and we talked about this earlier, is possible incentives through government programs or the municipalities, the local municipalities and local government, to try to help push this process along. So there are some tools in place for this. But I think it gets held down in a lot of red tape, we're discussing a lot of these things internally and talking to our local municipalities about better ways to move this thing forward,
Yeah, so back on February 10th, a few days ago, Rain MLS, which is the MLS we operate underneath, they released their data and statistics for January's market report, and new construction was up over 9%, and it was really the only thing that was a bright spot in that report. So it seems like more and more buyers are just going directly to new construction because, they see some of the other properties that are out there and they look at the cost of what it might take for them to fix it up. So we kind of, how I see it is, and I think a lot of people would say, if there's a housing shortage, why don't we just build more houses? It seems like the easy answer to this problem, right? Exactly. So, from your perspective, like, what are the biggest obstacles that hold you all back from doing and building more houses?
I think one obstacle definitely is the permit process. Like, it takes so much longer, it seems, as the years have gone on. Like, the process itself was just month or two. Sometimes now in certain cities, I've got a few projects that's taken me. I'm still haven't started one right in particular in mind. I'm a year and a half in trying to get that permit pulled, and still working on it. So, just the difficulty it is as far as in the cities trying to get in certain cities, not all of them. Some are a little bit easier than others, obviously, but that holds us up. That makes it the whole process take so much longer. Then it makes it we wonder, like, should we build this house, these houses, these smaller houses, or these bigger houses? Being that the time is going to take so much longer, it just makes it much more difficult for us to try to be in that affordable range, or that range where we can get these houses out quicker. It just makes that process that much longer with the permit process in the cities these days, and all the red tape, like Julius was saying. It seems like we get in so many different ways, and so many different. It's not even just one department. There's so many different ways that we get. It might be one zoning right beside planning, and they won't talk to each other. Like, I got to send it to him, then he has to get it, look at it, send it to this guy for review. Then he just, you might have 4 or 5 different people look at something 4 times before you get an approval. So those things really slow us down and make this whole process where it doesn't seem like a lot to people listening, but you're thinking about like something that might have took us 2 months and then 3 months to build, turning into 2 years. Yeah. So then we look at every project like that. Now, every time we go to look at a piece of land, you look at this one, that one, which one makes the most sense? It makes us do a lot more thought into what we're going to touch and how we're going to do it, versus back in the days when we would just build. You could pick a lot up and you knew you're going to build it, put it out there, sell it. Some houses were sold before you even put them on the market. So
why does it take so long in this? Is it have you guys noticed, because you guys have been doing this for a while, have you noticed, has it gotten longer, the process, as time has gone on? Have you guys noticed like a difference between like pre-pandemic or versus now?
Well, you said the right word. The pandemic changed a lot, right? Just say, for instance, one of our local municipalities, I won't say which one, I don't want to get in trouble, right? but they work from home, right? So when you apply for a building permit, and I'll just take you through it real quick. You apply for your building permit, you submit all your documents and everything, a nice, neat little package. And, you got a plans reviewer or a zoning official, kind of at home, watching television, taking the dog out for a walk, and, may get to your stuff at some point, So it's made it a lot different, because now you can't just go down and jump up and down on somebody's desk like, hey, what's taking so long with my stuff, And so
it's like nobody manning the desk.
Yeah, nobody manning the desk. Exactly. That's exactly what part of the problem is. It's not so much. We talked about this before. It's not so much like lead times and things like that anymore. Now, we can get materials. I think they're pretty much on course,
right,
and available. But just the municipalities in this particular area have made it difficult to process your documents and get you to building a house, going vertical. So,
and make us not want to come back.
Yeah, I mean,
I got 2 in mind right now. I wouldn't go back to them if they begged me.
I've noticed this myself, just in even rehabbing houses and that, and pulling permits and that. It's almost like it's us against them.
Oh yeah, it's a battle.
And so, I look at it, and I'm sure you all look at it from the same perspective. Like, you feel like you're doing something good for the city, the neighborhood, the community, and, we're taking time and energy and, in some cases, blood and sweat and putting it into these houses, but we're fighting against the cities in order to get the things that we need done. So in part, to me, it's no wonder why there's a shortage, because, there may be some people who just don't have the resilience like we all do to keep pushing forward.
Sure.
And I wonder how many people have given up on, their dream of entrepreneurship.
Or the resources.
Yeah. That's true,
too. They might not have the resources. They might not be able to go that long stretch with holding on to $300,000 worth of dirt You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, the finance charges will eat you up. You know,
I don't know if you got a guy helping you with the money, but if you got look, most guys these days are using hard money, so that money is expensive.
Yeah,
exactly.
And the clock starts ticking the day you sign that contract.
Ask them and if you don't read the bottom lines of what they're really charging you, I know a lot of guys who've lost their shirt. You know, so back to what the cities like. It's just very difficult, man. And I mean, I'm gonna call it what it is. They feel like we're rich. I assume sometimes. Right? I mean, they must think that we got yachts. Oh, you guys, like, look, man, we're not. We go out in there. We be in mud sometimes. No matter what, though, we just really want your help to do your job. Just to help us do. We'll give you whatever you need. Just let's work together. Not like, you just just come back tomorrow. Come back next week. Don't answer their phone. It's a lot to it, and a lot of people would get frustrated after doing this for a few years. It's not as glamorous, I should say, for me personally, as it used to be. 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those were really good years. Yeah. You could get, labor was much cheaper. The profit margins was much greater. You could sell a house for $200,000. You could really do well. You can't think about selling a $300,000 house and not really look at the numbers like, I don't know, Yeah. It's really tight these days.
I think that one of the things that Kareem championed a few years ago was, talking to the powers that be, right? We can't be afraid to go into their offices and tell them what our concerns are. I think that happens far too often, where a lot of contractors are afraid to step on toes because they don't want to, get their stuff held up any longer. But I think, everybody from the mayor on down needs to hear exactly what's going on the ground so that we can make changes. We're not just screaming, fire, fire, fire for no reason. Like, we're building houses and we're creating tax revenue in your city. Help us get to that. It's not, of course, we're for-profit companies. We want to make money, yes, but at the same time, it's good for everybody. The end user gets a beautiful home that they can raise their family in a safe environment. The city's making tax money on the something that was just sitting there dilapidated or an empty piece of land. Now, you've got a family in there that's living in your city that's bringing more revenue, right. Whether just from shopping in the local grocery store or paying their taxes, whatever. So it's all for a reason. We're all doing this to help the whole process. Everybody wins if it's done right. So I think that we can't be afraid to talk to the powers that be and let them know what's going on to help this process along.
Yeah, because the houses end up, we make a small, or and maybe a decent one-time payment, a lump sum, if you will. Right. But the cities, if built correctly, those houses could be there for 100 years. There's some houses right now that, 1910 was the year they were built. Yeah. 100 years old, they still selling. But, that is an asset for the city, which is generating them taxes for 100 years.
Monthly.
Yeah.
Month after month.
And that's what pays to keep the bills going. And so you got to have this constant flow of it. And, I do think that there is some people that need to know at the cities that, hey, like, your zoning department or your planning department is really holding up your ability as a city to mature to its full potential.
That's where it gets sticky.
Absolutely.
That's where it gets sticky as a builder. Do you want to rub the wrong person? You don't know who you're going to rub the wrong way when you do stuff like that. So it's like anything. My father told me a long time ago, you got to pick your battles wisely.
Oh, yeah.
You don't just, you can go in there and try and do that, all you want. But end of the day, they're going to get paid every week, week after week after week. And I think the bigger problem is that the people who are actually in these positions, they know most of the time that, some cities know that there's not going to be anybody that can come replace them anyway, even if they wanted to, because they're already short-staffed. Mm-hmm. So, and they're probably overworked. These people, they live, so they're human beings, right? Their emotions, they have emotions, so they don't they're not going to always have your best interest because, life is life, right? So, sometimes I just think it's more so a lot of people in those positions, I'm not going to say take advantage or want to, but sometimes it is those moments where, I hate to see certain people, I really, or this, let me see, my mother said don't say that. I strongly dislike.
Yeah, you walk in, you're like,
and I'm like, this person. I know I got, and there's nobody else to give my paperwork to.
I'll come back tomorrow.
It's going to take 2 months to get my stuff back if I hand my stuff to that person right there.
But, I think the good thing about, like, us in particular and, guys that have been around for a little while, we have relationships, right? We build relationships with these people at the city. We see them all the time. Right. They know us by first name. We walk in and, so we're able to get some things done more so than maybe this guy that's just coming in for the first time, right? They don't know him as being a builder there. They don't,
Right.
So we have to use that to our advantage. And then also at the same time, not just the people that are at the front desk when we walk in. We need to get to those people that are in the office in the back.
That we don't really get to see that often.
Yeah, from the mayor on down, we need to talk to those guys and just let them know. Look, we're not here to hurt you. We're not here to, we just want to build houses, man. So
making it more digital, I think it would be a great idea.
Yeah,
like automate the process a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of the cities have caught up with that. I think Well, there's one in particular.
Yeah, you said
I'm
a lot.
trying not to say anybody's.
Yeah. I know what you're trying not to do.
yeah. But it's gotten a little better than I guess
it's gotten a little
has.
better. I take that back, but it's still not where it should be. I would feel like.
Yeah, we want to build more houses, man, and get this housing crisis under control, man.
Yeah. So you guys mentioned about it seems like it slowed down. Do you think that there is an impact from the turnover of the people who are in those positions? Because, I know, and I've met a lot of people who they are like on our side. They're like, hey, look, I'm going to help you get this through, right? You can call them up and they like immediately they go in to look at the maps and you could do one. You could do, you can probably get 4 on this lot right here for real. You could probably get 4, right? So I think but that was a lot of the older generation, if I'm being frank about it, I just don't know that some of the younger generation values or feels a part of the team like some of the older guys did.
And that's true. And I think sometimes they just lack the knowledge. Like some of them are just learning, just getting into the position they don't really know how to navigate. So they take 18 times, 10 times longer than the guy who's been so seasoned that retired or is gone or post-COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Post-COVID, a lot of turnover in a lot of cities.
It is a lot of very high turnover.
A lot of, fortunately for a few cities that, I was primarily building in, I didn't have that to deal with that. But, a lot of different areas that I still do work in, it made it that much harder. And, when you run into a problem, you don't want to run into it again, right? So you might avoid, a couple of us might avoid those certain situations, going back to a city that we know is going to give us, just call it what it is, a hard time, Yeah. And that's where the problem lies. If we could get it where, honestly, if we could get permits pulled faster, we build a lot more houses. I think that's across. I think that would apply anywhere in the United States. Yeah. If we could pull a permit as fast as I could pull them back in 2006, 7, and 8, we would build a lot of houses.
Yeah, because building the house, the time
it's the same.
We're building. The same. From the time I start digging dirt till the time I get a certificate of occupancy is 3 months, maybe 4, depending on weather and whatever. But so it's not the fact that it's taking us too long to build the houses. We can get them done quick enough. It's just the process that we have to go through. It's the pre-construction stuff that we hate. Exactly. It takes so long. So if that process could be tailored down some to where we can get through it, a little bit more efficiently and quicker, we can get these houses built. And I think a lot of contractors, I know a lot of contractors that we know personally have the same issue,
So let me ask you, from the time you buy a piece of land to getting the foundation and start, pouring the foundation and stuff, how long does that take?
Generally,
average?
if I had to say average, I'd probably say about 3
months.
About
3 months, and then it takes you pretty much no time to start putting up walls and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
That's easy. That part is just it's average. You know, that's normal.
Going vertical is the easy part for us.
Yeah. So
Developing it and getting it to the point where we can start digging, that's the problem. You know. So
but when you get into doing like multiple, like if you do one here, 2 to 3 months is good. You know, but if you got one, and Josh helped me find recent, not too long. It's been a while, but 7, 8s, 9s, 10s. That process can be a year and a half, 2 years.
just to develop it, yeah.
I got a guy down
You
the
talking
street
about building in bulk?
building him, yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Don't do a small subdivision. Those things could take a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of resources. It takes a lot. So, if we wanted to make a lot of affordable homes, it'd be difficult because, first of all, the numbers aren't there, right? Let's just call it what it is. I can do 7 big houses, 7 little houses. Which one are you going to do? If
Depends
it's
on where the profit margins are at.
exactly,
Yep.
and the profit margins for the bigger houses, the lumber isn't going to cost you that much more. The labor is not going to cost you that much more, where it makes sense to do the affordable house. So if you want to build communities affordable, you have to make some incentive to us to want to make it where we can even make it, make it make sense. We can't make it make sense if it's like gonna cost already $100,000 just to get the sidewalks, the curbs, the gutters, the drainage systems. Then you got this $200,000 house you want me to put up and make 20,000. The numbers, it's just not gonna make sense. It's just.
Yeah, I mean, for me as an agent, that's like one of the worst things when I get that buyer who's like, "Oh, I just got pre-approved. I want to buy new construction, and my pre-approval is for
$250,000.
$250," and it's like, "Ooh, we both want this." It don't exist as a unicorn, though.
Right.
So that kind of leads into my next question in terms of affordability. How can new construction homes be more accessible to first-time home buyers and those that are in the lower tax or lower income brackets?
How can they be more accessible?
Yeah, how can we make them and make them to be accessible to those people who are only qualified at $250,000?
Yeah, you would think. What about like a townhouse, like a bunch of townhouses? Can you guys
that's
do
what I was
that?
going to say. Unfortunately, they're going to have to sacrifice square footage, right? At the end of the day, because that's what ultimately drives the cost, right? We got to know. I mean, I could build you a 3,500 square foot house. It's going to cost you $500,000, or I can build you a 1,700, 1,800 square foot townhouse, and it'll be more affordable in your range, right? And
Not for $250 though.
Well, yeah.
But that's the number he was
Or
saying.
like a little 1,400.
Yeah. Well,
Unless it's in a rough spot.
well, that matters too. Location, right? That's always a big factor.
And we was being honest, right? Keep it
Yeah, we
real.
want the
That's always-
honesty.
We want the raw stuff.
Because I built some really nice houses in Norfolk, right? And then that same house in Virginia Beach, I could get another $100,000 easily.
Easily.
So that.
But we
makes,
pay more for the dirt, so
Yeah, that's true.
So let me ask you this.
It's kind of relative. Yeah.
What if the cities partnered up with the builders and said, "Hey, look, we're going to give you these lots. We're giving you this dirt for free."
They should.
They should.
Would that
not
help
even
to
necessarily
offset
free.
the cost?
Right.
They could give it to us at a number that makes sense for both them and us.
Right.
Okay.
Maybe the tax
You-
assessed
Because otherwise
value or something.
they're just sitting on
Yeah,
it.
most
Yeah.
cities have, I think Portsmouth the other day, what they say, 200 some lots.
Yeah.
Small 25 footers, And when we went a few years ago to try to get them to reduce what is called
The zoning requirements.
the zoning requirements, we asked them to bring it down for us to help us to be able to build on certain lots. You know what they did? They made it bigger.
They rezoned it.
Yeah.
And made it bigger,
made it
though.
bigger.
Wow.
So you can put a
Now
bigger
it's
house
Almost
there.
as if
Instead
they were
of
trying to
50-foot
tell us,
frontage,
like,
you need 60-foot frontage. I'm like, what? What are you doing?
So that's the part where we're talking about, if they start listening to what we would need to make it make sense, and we all, let's talk to the builders, let's put the city officials that are in these positions to help us to get it to where what we're trying to do, the ultimate goal is make a more affordable property for people who need them. It's not like we're trying to do it for people who want. These people need affordable homes, right? That we can't afford to build,
Right.
So.
And that answers, in part your question. One of the things that, because we can't, if we're going to build affordable housing, we need to get to a number that makes sense as far as the square footage, the lot size, all of that matters, right?
Which we could,
Right.
with a
And we
good
could with the help.
conversation with the right people, sitting
Exactly.
down and listening to what we would need.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, this is like mind blowing for me because I think like if I was a governor of some state, somewhere, like, when you look across the landscape of America, you got people that are migrating out of California and different other places. Yeah. Like you can easily like become like the top state if you just really got on board with the builders and the people in those areas. If everyone was working on the same page, you could literally drive down the cost of the housing and increase the population, which increases the tax revenue. So like this is just mind blowing to me that we just don't have that level of cooperation on all those different levels.
But I think a lot of states probably look at it like, what is it going to bring to their state? If you have you're the state with the most amount of affordable homes, which would then bring medium to lower income people to your state, So,
potentially, that's not always the case because
But I'm saying I'm not saying what I don't believe that. I believe what you. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because I mean,
Get closer to your mic.
it depends on where they're coming from, right?
Right.
So let's just say, I'll tell you, I lived in New York for a period of time. The first house I ever bought was a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home, $78,000.
Right.
In upstate New York.
Right.
So, a $250,000 house, when I moved back down here, I was like, oh, this is a little nerve-wracking,
Right.
I'm used to 78, 250 is a little bit, it's a little bit nerve-wracking, but, so it really depends on where you're coming from because the people that's coming from New York is very expensive up there, and they're looking for somewhere to go to where it's more affordable. So, that's where I would argue against that. And New York just happens to be one of those states where people are migrating out of.
I mean, we got a leads database of different buyers, and how many leads in there? Like 22,000?
23,000.
23,000 potential buyers, and a lot of them are coming from New York.
Right.
And a lot of them are coming from Cali.
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah.
Looking to migrate out of there. So
No. I'm with you. I just think how the powers that be, I see how Portsmouth and a lot of cities in this area are underdeveloped, not because we couldn't, because the people who are in control of those, municipalities, they're trying, they want to get to that point, but it's going to, for me, I think it's going to take a big group effort of like people like us sitting down there, bringing to the forefront a lot of things that we see that we know we could help to make better.
Yeah.
And to change.
And some of these cities are actually starting to open the door for those ideas, to be able to collectively
the people like at Portsmouth now.
Like
we're actually doing some
one.
stuff there right now.
Yeah, Portsmouth is open to these discussions, and because they know that they can't do it by themselves, right? They've tried for so long and they're not making any headway. So now they're starting to bring in, guys like us to have these conversations and say, okay, well, look, what do we need to do on our side to help facilitate this, which is good. So we finally got them talking about it. Now it's just time to, really put some action behind it.
Absolutely.
And I think, because Portsmouth is one of those cities who's really open to it now. Some of the other cities like Norfolk and, they're a little, not resistant, but there's so much going on in the city of Norfolk right now. It's just, hard to kind of corral everybody and get behind it. But Portsmouth is looking pretty good, and I think some of the other smaller cities.
I think
like
a lot of cities will come around
Suffolk's
if we are able to have a lot more people engaged in conversations like this.
Yeah,
a lot more people, more on a larger scale, not just here in this setting right now, but groups of people coming together and sitting down and saying, "Hey, how can we make this better?" You saw it in Atlanta. You see a lot of we know a few people from the city that are actually traveling to go look at some of the innovative things they're doing other places to bring that back here.
Yeah,
and that's what we need a lot more of.
Speaking of innovation, that brings up my next question. So, what innovations in construction technology and designs are you both most excited about, and how could it help with the shortage?
Wow. I think one of the things is for me personally is trying to modernize some of the houses to get them more energy efficient, right? That's been the goal for the last 15 years or so. Everybody's trying to move to a more efficient home, right? But the problem with that is, especially in the beginning, is the cost to do it.
Yeah.
It's just
There you go.
we wanted to do so many different things to try to make the houses more energy efficient,
Eco-friendly.
from the water heater system to solar panels to all these different things. But it just costs so much to do it. So now you're driving the cost of the construction up to where the builder's it's not affordable for the builder to do it. Otherwise you're gonna have to transfer that increase to the
You guys
end
put
user.
solar panels on homes?
Yes.
How much do you guys pay for those things? Because they charge some people like $50,000, $60,000.
Nah, they haven't quite cost me that much. We're probably
Well, consumers getting hit in the shorts on those things.
Yes, they are. So what we've been doing lately is subcontracting that out to other companies, right? So what we'll do is we'll prep the house to be able to receive it, putting on all the interior wiring required for it, and then once the buyer purchases the house, then they'll talk to the company and they'll come in and work the deal out with them, right?
Oh, so it's like Sirius satellite radio for your car. It
Yeah,
just gets it ready for you.
basically, we're providing the infrastructure to be able to have it.
Have it set
If
up.
you decide you want to do it, it's available. Now you don't have to come running all this stuff after you've purchased your house. All they got to do is put the panels on the roof, tie it in, and you're done. But it could cost upwards for us. We're getting deals like $25,000, $30,000, just depending on the size of the house and what they're trying to supply. But yeah, it pays for itself over time. Obviously, right? This is not something you're going to see the benefits from, in the first year or anything like that. But over time, I see you guys.
We already done the research on that stuff.
We've done
It's a
the
whole new
research,
topic.
yeah.
Right.
Watch the video.
But
Check it out.
here's-
We'll take a link in the description.
Yeah.
Sure.
Here's my question though: are builders eligible to file for the federal tax credit on solar panels? Do you know that answer?
I don't.
I'm not sure.
I don't think that we
I don't
are
do
though.
solar panels.
Yeah, I think the
so.
tax credit is transferred to the buyer.
We get a lot of
I don't
credits
think-
for like making it more eco-friendly, but it still doesn't pan out. Like it doesn't.
It's supposed to be
Yeah,
like
it
26% to 30%.
It doesn't
Yeah.
Is it?
balance.
So they say.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I'm not.
Even the $25,000 price point that he just put it at, which is a lot lower than what your average homeowner is paying for it. The tax credit is literally a Band-Aid on a gaping wound. For most homeowners.
Right.
So, but yeah, again, just trying to think like, hey, if there was a way for it to make sense for builders to install them, but while they're building homes, which probably does make the most amount of sense, vice the government giving tax credits to homeowners who may or may not use that money to pay off the panels, which then puts them in financial peril. It might make more sense to subsidize that cost for the builders, for them to put it on the house. That way, every house that's built in the United States is built energy efficient
I like
and with
that.
solar
Yeah,
panels.
it's kind of like
That's a really good
electric
idea,
cars.
yeah.
Already
Absolutely.
manufacturing them. So
Yeah.
Right.
It makes sense.
Yeah, I thought about giving away cars once upon a time. It's all about, is it going to make sense at the end of the day for
Yes.
us? We can't lose our shirts. A nice electric vehicle with a house, we could help the economy. We could help the,
but you couldn't do that with affordable homes.
nah, you couldn't do that with affordable homes.
Yeah. All right. So I think we touched on it just a little bit, but let's recap on it. Supply chain, right? So during COVID, it was massive setbacks with supply chains,
Lumber was like
months of
$8 a
waiting.
2x4.
It's ridiculous.
What does the supply chain look like right now for builders? Is it a reason why builders just aren't able to build more houses?
I think the supply chain has gotten a lot better.
A lot better.
since
Their
COVID,
numbers have come down, but I think what it did was it made everybody's price go up. Like electricians, my HVAC guy, my plumber, everybody decided they want more money, right? Because they feel like anything, 4 or 5 years ago, I was selling the same house for $270. Now I'm selling it for $350.
That's
Not selling it for $350 because I want to. I'm selling it for $350 because I have to keep up with Julius, who keeps smacking me more every time I turn around for more money on my HVAC. You know, I had to say it twice just to remind him how many
caught
times.
that, by the way.
But you know, our costs have gone up, and then even though they bring the price of lumber gone up down, you know, electrician is not going to be like, oh, let me go down with the price of lumber. You know, I'm still going to charge you. You know that twice as much as I was charging you for that electrical work.
But some of those things, some of the materials that they use have gone up. Copper's gone up.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Wires.
Yeah, so I mean, it's
Is that why HVACs have gone up? Because
HVAC as well. I mean, I got a text message from my HVAC supplier a few weeks ago, February 2nd. Prices are going up. You know, I mean, it's like I don't have a choice, so I have to transfer that increase to my customers. You know,
And we as builders transfer it to who?
Yeah, we
buyer.
to the
The
end
buyer.
user.
The end state
Exactly.
So then, where does the affordable home go? Right along with all the other stuff that has gone up out. You know, it's gone out the window. It's gone. You know, it's right out the window. It's nothing we can, and we're not doing it because we want to. I mean, I used to love and enjoy building, affordable homes. You know, you see the look on people's faces when they get their first new home that they worked hard to save their
It's
money
the most
for.
important investment that they'll ever make.
Yeah,
and it's
absolutely.
important. So we don't take that for granted. You know, I mean, we value that. I mean, we purchased our first home at one point. You know, so of course we understand what that, what that position is. But as a builder, of course, we're for-profit companies. You know, we have bills to pay and all that stuff. But we do the best that we can. Unfortunately, in this particular space that we're in right now, hopefully we can implement some things that'll make it better for them.
Right.
And that's what we try to do every day. I like the houses I build. And Kareem does the same thing. Is we give them a lot of as much in these houses as we can.
Absolutely.
We want to give them nice elevated lighting packages and fixtures and things like that to we want you to feel like the money you're spending is worth it. We don't I'm not going to just give you this basic $5 faucet. I'm going to give you a nice faucet. I want to give you these things that make you feel like you actually what you spent money for is worth it.
But there are those people who need the house that's like a Honda Accord, right? They want a house that's affordable, they can live in, they can know it's not going to break down.
Sure.
But they're going to get their bang for their buck but that's all they can afford. We can't build those anymore. I felt like back in the days I was a Honda Accord of homes because I started off building houses in Portsmouth. That was my first home, and I'm still.
we started real estate in Portsmouth.
Yeah.
So that's where I grew up in Portsmouth, 2003, learning these people need houses just like we need houses just like anybody else.
It's an essential element of life, shelter.
And it was nice to see we could build these houses for them, and it's really difficult now. It's really hard to build an affordable home.
Is this more like an inflationary thing? So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
As the more we print money, the value of the dollar goes down even more. So unless wages keep up with the price of inflation, then the goalpost of home ownership for a lot of folks is just going to keep going further and further to the right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at one point, people could afford to live. That's what it is. They could afford to live off of $10 an hour. These kids need $18 an hour just to eat, not even have a home, not even to own a home.
Exactly. There's a lot of them that are building houses. They can't afford a house.
It transfers over to everything, every aspect of your life. You know what I'm saying?
Inflation is the big root. I feel like and I mean it's not much. What can they do? We're in debt.
Sounds like that's labor and one of those barriers we'll talk about.
Yeah,
later.
that's literally the next thing on the ticket is so what does the labor market look like right now in the construction and the new construction industry? I mean, do you have adequate laborers, skilled laborers? Is there a shortage?
No.
Like, where would you? What's the temperature of the labor market?
I believe that there's a shortage. I mean, we're constantly looking for people that we can depend on to do the job the right way. That are qualified to do it. But for some reason, I don't know. I think that because now the younger generation is moving more towards a technological, career path as opposed to, before it was hands-on tradesmen. plumbers, electricians, heating and AC guys, sheet metal guys, and they're still there, but they're not as much as it used to be. Now these guys want to go into coding, and they want to go into, they're making money on social media. They don't have to work with their hands anymore. You know what I'm saying? They can do all these other things. Right. So it's hard to find those laborers like that they may do it for a short period of time just to kind of get over that hump, pay for a couple of bills, but their end goal is to get into something less hands-on, working smarter, not harder type of thing,
Yeah.
So, it's hard to find people that really want to get in and grind and work and work with their hands and get this
So
type of
in
work done.
your labor pool, have you noticed that the majority of them are a certain age? Because like I was just talking to one guy today, the electrician. He's telling me he's in his 50s. I'm in my 40s.
Yeah.
We have another guy. He's in his what the heck is
Yeah,
he?
he's in his 50s.
Yeah, he's in his 50s
Yeah.
too.
Those are the guys.
Even
that
our
still
crawl
like to work
space
with their
guys are in his
hands.
50s.
Exactly. These younger guys, man, you tell them to go in a crawl space, they're like, "What?
Yeah.
In the attic? What?"
I'm gonna be honest with you. I ain't going to the crawl space. I'm just being honest with you.
man.
I'll go
do
there
it all
after
the
it's
time.
done. I'll go look at
Yeah, it's got to be a new crawl space.
Exactly,
I ain't
yeah.
getting in there.
Is
The
there
rats is
plastic
in
down
there.
here?
The
Like,
cats is in there.
Yeah, I
where's
kinda
the
got
light?
out of
You know,
going.
like-
I got under going under these houses now, man. I'll peep in there. I kind of like.
Yeah,
But y'all put them brand new.
Our
They're
knees
no
ain't what
good.
they used to be, man. We can't get down there in the crawl space
Yeah.
like that. But we did,
Yeah.
I mean, I was the guy in the attic hooking up the ductwork and installing that heating and AC system. I don't do it anymore. But I mean, I'm just saying, these guys now, they figure they get one good, Instagram video and they're done. They got 50,000 followers. They're making money or whatever. They don't have to do it, but it's hard to find people that still want to do that type of work. That's why I always refer back to Kareem, man, because I'm so proud of what he's done with his son. Yeah. This kid is hands-on. I mean, he knows how to frame a wall. He knows how to install flooring, and so it's great that his father was able to teach him that. But some of these guys, they just in this social media world that we live in now, it's just easier for them to make money by doing whatever, posting some videos and however they make their money doing that. So and I'm not mad at it. I mean, hey, look, it's the way that we're moving, but it does make it harder for us, to find those types of guys that want to do this type of work,
I mean, this won't solve the immediate problem, but AI is taking over a lot of that coding, all of that social media posts, and all that stuff that you can do. And I'll tell you what AI cannot replace is something what Kareem's son is doing.
That's right.
Is being hands-on. Unless
Absolutely.
AI grows arms.
Yeah, you're right.
It's not gonna
100%. Yeah. I mean, and that's what we're banking on. That
Absolutely.
that we. I mean, even to build these systems that, that are gonna be kind of running the world at some point. You need hands to do it. These solar panel farms and things like that. Things that we need to be. Teaching these young guys to get out there and do and put your hands on and build these farms, that has to be done, right? So, I mean, I think, the more that we participate in that and get these guys acclimated to working with their hands, the better off we'll be later on. But it's hard, man. I mean, some of these guys just don't, like I said, they'll do it for a short period of time just to get to whatever that next goal is, and then they leave it behind, Fortunately, we still have some of us older guys around that are able to teach, these younger guys how to work with their hands, so, I mean, what can we do? Just try to keep pushing that forward.
All right. So, how do you see the future of new construction homes and evolving in the next 5 to 10 years? What does that look like?
Man.
Do we see AI and robots coming out building
Like those
houses
Tesla
in the
bots,
next
those
5?
Optimus bots.
I think some of the more efficient ways to build houses, like we were talking about 3D printing and all those different types of new ideas to build houses. And we got to look at a lot of different things. Just the world is changing, right?
Right.
I mean, just in the way of global warming. Some people don't want to recognize that, but it's happening. I mean, like just say for instance, up north, and we were talking about heating and AC a little while ago. Up north, you have to install gas systems. They don't heat pump systems aren't efficient enough.
I mean, you're from Pennsylvania. They did the heating oil up there, right?
Yeah, it's all like heating oil,
Yep.
gas systems. They don't do that down here because the climate is different.
Yeah.
For now, But as that changes, we're going to have to start adjusting how we install heating and AC systems, right? I mean, just basic things like that. So, I think altogether we have to eventually start thinking about, long-term effects of how these houses are built and what is going to be required down the line. Right? We can't keep thinking about today. We got to think about tomorrow and what these houses are going to need to sustain themselves for long periods of times. I want to build houses that someday somebody's going to say, look, this house was built in 2024 and it's 100 years from then. You know what I'm saying? My house is still standing the test of time. And that's what we're looking for. So we work hard every day to try to accomplish that. But I think a lot more energy needs to be put into that. How to build more sustainable houses. These 3D printed houses. I mean, I'm not too familiar with that, but I think it is more cost effective. I don't know how well it stands up to.
Right.
I showed you the guys that Elon Musk house that's been going on the internet. It's called the Boxable. You saw how it kind of folded out like that. Somehow cost $50,000.
Right.
How can that be something that would that work here in our area? I don't know if it would work other places.
I don't know. It may, because here we're pretty well situated geographically, right? We don't sustain a lot of tornadoes and flooding and things like that. Fortunately, let me knock on wood, right? Because God forbid, I don't want that to happen anytime soon. But a lot of those things are governed by the wind resistance and all these different things that the engineers take into account, and how our houses will sustain those types of things. So I think here, based off of what we know right now, they would work. I mean, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't. Now, if we were down in Florida or somewhere where it's always flooding or
a lot of hurricanes
and all that kind of stuff, maybe it might be different. I'm not sure, but I'm not an engineer. Fortunately, I'm not an engineer.
Anywhere they put trailers at, I imagine.
You would think that you could get away with that, right? Yeah. So, I think that we definitely have to look at different options of building houses. These stick frame houses that we build here, they're fine for us, but that goes back to more affordable housing. I think that if we could implement some of these different building practices, we could get the houses a little bit more affordable. You know what I mean? So, if we could build a house for $50,000, of course that would transfer to the end user, and we can get people in houses a lot more affordably. So, so we have to be open to those things and welcome them, and hopefully, not hopefully, but we have to push the municipalities to really take a hard look at these engineering practices that are happening across the country in different areas and bring them here.
Because I'll tell you what, if you get some of those, either the 3D printed ones with the concrete or maybe something like the Boxable one from Elon Musk or something like that, I'll tell you what, as an agent, I can sell the shit out of those things every day.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I'll do whatever it takes to do a marketing thing. I can get, especially if it's the right price. Exactly. I mean, I sell that all day like hotcakes.
Yeah.
So you guys were talking all about the weather and everything. It brought up a question I got for next week's podcast, but I want to ask you all as well, because we're talking about affordability in that. So, recently I've noticed that the insurance has gone up on like my builder's risk policies and things like that. Are you all seeing the same thing? And how does that affect you all as well in your pricing on affordability?
Well, yeah, I mean, we always going to have to price in anything that increases. And we see it on our side as well. It's probably not as big as a factor, but I think with that and all the other increases, those are all taking effect on the overall cost for us, which I guess like Julie says, the end user is going to, we have to transfer that, we can't. We can eat some of it, but it's all, at the end of the day, it goes to the buyers. So.
Yeah, because like my company that I use, and I actually checked on this last one, like with 3 different companies. I was out there shopping around like I was a homeowner. But there's a lot of them that are now making the builder risk policy non-refundable. You pay for a year of it up front.
And they don't care.
And you don't get none of it back. If you use it for one day, that's it. It's done. So, yeah, I mean, that's just one more cost that's being pushed on to the end buyer, that's driving up that cost of housing.
Right.
Yeah.
Next question. What role do you believe government and policymakers should play in supporting new home construction as a solution to the housing shortage? Are there any specific policies, incentives that you think would be the most effective in helping you all out?
I think a lot of these different municipalities have a lot of land. I mean, they should. I think Julius mentioned we had conversations prior to the day about they should give, not necessarily give it, but make it where they work with us as far as making a number that makes sense for them and for us. Allow us to build some of these homes on these land that they already have to increase, of course, help. The ultimate goal is for the city to collect taxes, right? So if you make it where it makes sense for us, we can make sense of it for the masses and be able to build these affordable homes that are so much needed at this point.
Yeah, so it is an election year, but and everybody who's running, I've yet to hear anybody even speak about the fact that there's a housing shortage. So it's probably not something that would come, to fruition in the short term. But here's my last question, and then we're gonna wrap it up, go around the table. So, statistically speaking, African Americans make up the smallest demographic of builders. Caucasian and white builders, 61.7%, Hispanic and Latinos, 23.1%, and African Americans at 5.6%. What can we do to attract more of the younger generation and African Americans to become builders and take on this career field?
Well, I think one of the things is this, right? Allowing us to be a part of this conversation in this way, to be able to get our faces out there and let people see that we can do this as well, right? One of the things I set out to do when I started in this whole construction industry was to dispel the rumors that we couldn't do this and we couldn't do it right, and that wasn't just from outside of our community, that was inside of our community. I mean, I saw way too many times where somebody down the street wouldn't want to hire an African American contractor because they didn't think that we would be able to do it or do it right or whatever,
Right.
So I said, you know what? No, we're gonna take that out of the equation.
Right.
We're gonna do it right.
Absolutely.
And so I think that was one thing, but I think education is going to be key. Kareem speaks to this all the time, and it's just something I've adopted because it's so important that we're able to teach people what we know, right? We've been through all of the pitfalls and potholes of becoming Class A general contractors, right? We've lost money. I've lost a lot of money in this industry when I first started. But along that way, I've learned the do's and don'ts and what to do and what not to do. And so all of these things we can teach people, right? And again, I go back to Kareem's son because that's so important. What he's taught him, we can duplicate that, right? He's 23 years old. He's flipped 7 houses. Probably has more money in his bank account than some older adults that I know, and I don't say that to brag, but I say that because it's successful. It's something that was done, and we can do it again. We can teach other people how to do this, not just in our community, right? I mean, of course, we're concerned about that, and we want to make sure that us as African Americans, we're teaching our community how to gain success in this particular industry. But at the same time, it's not exclusive to just us, right? We want to teach everybody how to do this. So, that's what we'll talk about Good Guys later, but that's what Good Guys is all about, right? So, unfortunately, we are the smaller minority of this particular industry. I think African American inclusion has been a big part of the conversation when it comes to these larger projects. That's one of the things that we're fighting for right now, is that these larger scale projects that the municipalities are introducing to this particular regions or cities, like Norfolk, for instance, with them taking down a lot of the housing projects and bringing in these larger scale, St. Paul's Quandary projects and all these different things. There has to be African American inclusion in them. For one, because it's in our community, right? It's not just that they're building all these new this new infrastructure in Norfolk. You're actually taking parts of our community and doing it. So we have to be included in that. To a certain degree, and so I think that's a really big conversation that's going on in a lot of different cities, and we're a part of that, fortunately.
Right.
So anyway, I could talk you to death about that, but I think that it's really important, and we're making some progress in that area.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Hey, final thoughts, Joshua. What do you got?
Yeah, I want to know about Good Guys. Give us
tell us about Good Guys.
Kareem, give us the quick rundown on it.
Quick rundown. Good Guys is all right. It's started with Julius and myself first initially, and it's literally all about men helping men. Typically of color. Are we going to exclude anybody? Absolutely. Good guys is good guys. What it means, we are good guys. So we're not just guys who grew up together because we're band together by code. Back in the days when you were young, you would have code. Okay, you can't be friends with them because they from the other neighborhood. We don't hang out with them. All that. This is where we stop and all that. We're trying to teach men to not only care about our family, but care about each other, care about the other. These days it's almost hard for another man to say, hey, grab another man's son's hand and be like, hey, come here, let me show without the dad being like, ho, what you trying to do? What are you trying to do there? So, we have Julius and myself, we never built houses together, but we worked together. We help each other. We pushed each other to, be better. My son, he talks to him all the time about being, how well he's doing, how he encourages my son. We're looking to help each other's, not just as, because we've known each other so long, but we wanted to be shown that we didn't know each other forever, but we can always go out here and help each other to do things on another level and encourage other men to do the same thing in other cities, other states. It doesn't have to be just Virginia. If me, Julius, Gary, Josh, my brother here, I'm sorry, I forgot you, Rob.
That's all right,
I'm sorry, Rob. If we are able to just have open dialogues about how we can help each other and not be always looking like, oh, he's got too much, he must be rich, back in the days, it's always been that difficult thing for a man to help another man. We've always been. I grew up in a home where it's don't tell nobody about what you got. Keep your mouth shut. Be quiet. Don't be too friendly with everybody because so many people out here. Most guys are gonna stab you in the back. That's what I learned as a man. Especially black guys. My dad used to tell me, you definitely got to watch the black guys. They gonna, because there's that crabs in the barrel mentality. I think Julius has spoke on. We want to keep that whole motivation, keep that out of our minds. I mean, there's always going to be bad apples, but it's been centuries of I've watched a couple guys that were partners, I'm not going to say their names, didn't seem to like each other, but they figured out how to make a lot of money together. We ain't got to be best friends, even though we are, Julius, and a lot of us we all good friends. We don't have to be best friends to be able to network and help each other do well.
Absolutely.
And that's what Good Guys is all about, like men helping men.
I like it.
Nothing even,
I like it too.
In general. Yep.
All right.
That's all I got.
That's all you got? All right, guys, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, leave a like, and leave us a comment below. Let us know what you think about this. For watching.
Thanks for having us, guys.